Britain has signed a £5 billion a year trade deal with India, which the government hopes will make it easier for both countries to buy and sell goods like whisky, like cars, like jewellery. The deal also includes a 3-year exemption on national insurance contributions paid by Indian employees working in the UK on short-term visas. And this is an arrangement known as the Double Contribution Convention, designed to make sure national insurance contributions are not made in more than one country. So it means Indian employees transferred to Britain by their company won't pay their NICs, as they're called, here. And the same applies to British workers transferred by their company to India. The UK has similar agreements with more than 50 countries, including the US, EU countries and South Korea. But the Conservatives, the Lib Dems and Anne's party Reform are angry. Why are you angry?
Well, for this reason. Employers have recently had a rise in national insurance costs. Now, the thing about national insurance is that unlike tax, it's not just paid by the employee, the employer has to make a contribution as well. And so if he is faced with 2 workers, one of whom comes with no NI liability and one of whom does because he's a native Brit, then you can't blame employers if they go for the first. So there is now hang on, Jeremy. There is a concern, therefore, that what this could do is undercut British workers.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say that. Nick, what about that?
No, she's right. Absolutely right. However, what workers are we talking about? And my information is, and this is a very recent sort of story, is that there's specialist people coming in on short-term visas. So it's not factory workers, but it will be musicians or chefs or people who have a particular skill. Now, if it were all Indian workers, they wouldn't be here on short-term visas anyway. So they are very specialist, maybe they're doctors or surgeons or whatever, but very specialist.
But they are.
So we're not talking.
Sure, but they're cheaper to employ here.
Yes, we're not talking about the British worker, essentially, actually.
Yeah, but it still means you've got, as Anne says, you've got 2 people in front of you.
I agree. The employer's going to take what gives him the greatest margin and the greatest profit. Sensible.
It sounds
It'd be stupid not to.
From the description I just gave, it sounds as if the national insurance contributions payable in India, normally by that person, will still be paid in India.
That won't affect our employers making their decisions.
It avoids what's called double tax, where you pay the same thing twice. But you're right, it suddenly makes someone think, oh, I can employ this person here in Britain, and their NICs are going to be paid by their deemed employer in India. And so that's why the Tories and Reform are hopping mad about it. Larry in Liverpool, hello.
Hello.
What do you think, Larry?
Nice to speak. I fully agree that this is a fantastic situation and a great opportunity for us all.
OK, so you disagree, you think this is OK?
I think it's absolutely fine because it's like the reciprocal agreement we have with 50 other countries.
Yep.
In that their talent can come over here and be paid by that country. They are paid by their Indian employers. Right, they pay the tax and everything in India, and we get them over here working with us, not for us. Right, it's like anything else. You're sent by Channel 5, Jeremy, over to Switzerland to work for 3 months. Channel 5 will continue to pay you for 3 months because you're working for them.
You're right, aren't you? But I wouldn't be taking a Swiss job. Now,
no, you wouldn't be. No.
I mean, what if I showed up on a Swiss TV station? And I said, look, you can employ me for next to nothing because I'm being paid by London. That might be unfair on the Swiss.
I don't think that's the actual case. You're not going to be replacing anybody. You're going to be working for Channel 5 over to Switzerland.
Okay.
As an Indian company would come over here. Look, I go and work in the United States about 3-4 times a year. I don't replace anyone because I'm not needed to replace anyone. I'm going to work on behalf of my company, which is a bank, right?
Yep.
Over there, doing liaison with them.
There we are.
That's it.
There we are. We're getting too het up about this, Anne.
No, I don't think we are getting too... not too head up about it. We're right to put down markers and to ask what the
slightly cross.
And to ask what the safeguards will be. We're right to do that. And, trouble is everybody's now trying to take very specific circumstances and say, but this makes it all right or this doesn't make it all right. What we need to do is to look at the exact terms that are going to be on offer and what sort of workers come here. I think that is an important point. But we're absolutely right to say particularly in view of the recent rise in national insurance. We do not want our workers undercut.
OK, Larry, thank you so much. Howard is in West Glamorgan. Do we celebrate this deal with India, Howard, or do you share these worries?
Well, it's better than the deal that was concocted up by the last government with Australia and New Zealand.
Well, what was wrong with that one?
Well, Emily Thornberry held a piece of paper up in Parliament, and she waved it at, I think it was Baroness Mone, and she said, are these figures correct? And those figures indicated that the trade deal concocted with Australia and New Zealand was of absolutely no benefit to us.
I saw that. I saw that it was like one pence every 3 years that we make out of it. Yeah. But then it was a different way of trading, and maybe it was a 50-50 thing. It wouldn't have been Baroness Mone because she was busy in the Lords with her own issues. So, but I like that you've imagined Baroness Mone into a story there. OK, maybe we don't make any money out of this, Howard, but at least it greases the wheels. Because at the moment we're like Millwall. You know, everyone seems to hate us.
Yeah, well, Brexit has made us very, it's made us very unpopular with most countries, isn't it? It was a pretty stupid thing to do to leave the European Union. It's cost us 5% of GDP.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have to hand you over to Anne on that because, well, we just have a little bit of...
It's only because of Brexit that we're ever able to make any trade deals under our own terms instead of under EU terms. So, sorry, I mean, I think that Brexit, I don't think it's been used properly. I don't think it's been exploited. I don't think it's been maximised in any way. And I would have treated it quite differently, and so will any future Reform government. But that much having said, at least it gives us some freedom.
Yeah, but Howard says it's cost us money.
Yeah.
We're poorer.
We're not.
As a result of Brexit.
The fact is our exports to the EU have gone up.
Is that right, Howard? What about that? Our exports have gone up.
They have.
Go on, Howard. This is your moment with the great Widdecombe.
Yeah, the Office of Budget Responsibility has said that our GDP has dropped by 5%. Yeah, she's very selective with what she wants to believe, isn't she?
You know what? This export figure thing, I never understand whether they have gone up or not. You say they have.
Well, I'm giving you the figures.
Exports to the EU have gone up. Are they, Nick?
Well, I was always against Brexit, and I really can't see the sun shining on this particular country at the moment.
All right. Well,
it doesn't, but that's because of your Labour government, my dear.
Who's a Labour?
He's not. He's never come out as a Labour. So, have you, Nick, or not? You've never come out as a Labour guy.
I used to.
Oh, you used to.
Ah, there you are.
Under Blair.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Howard. Thank you very much. John in Kent. Should we celebrate the Indian deal?
No, we shouldn't, because my friend is a multi-millionaire Malaysian. He wouldn't employ English, and he told me that the Indians won't employ English because we are lazy and useless.
Is he wrong? Is he wrong, John?
Probably right.
Of course he's right.
He's right.
He's 100% right.
But then, what's the problem?
What's the problem? I'm just saying how I see it, everything. You know what I mean?
No, I know, I understand that, John. But if Indians come over here who want to run businesses and they don't want to employ Brits,
yes,
why would they come over here?
Because we're such a soft touch.
Right. What, to exploit our wealth?
Exploit everything in this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any way we could change and be more ready to work, do you think, John, as a country? At the moment, we do seem to struggle with work.
You're exactly right. Yeah, because the government is not leading the way.
OK. Nick, do you think this is true, that John's right, that we basically, people, John said English people, we can't hear alarm clocks?
I don't think that we strive as much as other countries. The East Europeans, for whom I have huge regard, such workers, my God, they're terrific people. But I think that we've been looked after by the state, perhaps overly, and our ambition seems to have disappeared. Youngsters, apparently, somebody told me the other day, in the media actually, they said, look, we need you to go, it was a Gen Z person, we need you to go to Newcastle tomorrow, you be there at 10 o'clock for a meeting. And this young person said, no, sorry, that's not what I do. And they said, what do you mean? Well, I tend to get in about 10-ish.
In what,
So
London or something? Or,
Yeah. So it's generally a lack of ambition and drive. When I was a kid, I had to be available to do anything because in that way you get on. You always say yes to whatever is put on.
Isn't that because, to defend Gen Z, it's because when you were a kid you could see a way of getting a job and buying a house. They now can't connect work with having a house. They're never going to have a house.
They're just not going to bother
It's
to
not
work.
just
That's
about
it.
housing.
That's
It's
it.
not just about housing. It's
No, it
a
isn't.
lifestyle thing. They don't want their boss's job. And it's a lack of ambition and
I agree
getting
with
on.
that. I
Is that
agree with
right?
that.
Is it
Yeah.
the smartphones that have done it? They've blown their minds?
That's another story, isn't
Well,
it?
it could be. I don't know. But all right, we can move on in a minute. But we should just we should try and think about this India deal because it could, and it's basically a form of it's joining the EU without the EU, isn't it? We've basically gone back into a trading bloc, having left one earlier.
No, but the difference now is that we control the terms, as does the other country. We control the terms. We're not bound right from the outset by a set of terms laid down by the EU. I mean, that was the problem. We couldn't make our own trade deals, for better or for worse. We couldn't make them because the EU had such very, very explicit and tight rules.
Okay. Later, it's the papers and everything else. Find out why guards have been asked to protect a certain statue.